Our next guest is the son of the legendary Afrobeat pioneer Fela Kuti. And over the years, he's become a world-famous musician in his own right.
Here to discuss his world tour, a new documentary about his father's life and fatherhood is Seun Kuti. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lola.
Hi, and this is Shannon.
Yeah. welcome. It's like Lola.
Yes, enough about
she gets
Shannon.
that a lot. Trust me.
It's a Nigerian
That's
thing.
what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a Nigerian thing. We're
That's what it
vibing.
is. Okay.
Sorry. Okay, now you can join us.
Okay, get your vibe on.
So your father's life and legacy has been endlessly explored in Broadway musicals, books, museum exhibits even. Why do you think he continues to fascinate decades after his death?
Well, I think he's just one of the few artists who stood for something. I think it's rare in the world today to have people like put their values over maybe commercial rewards and things like that. It was a man that stood for the many, not for the few. So he inspired so many people. I think that's why he's so celebrated today. So many people are inspired by him because of his selfless service, and they want to relate to that. So, yeah.
When did you first realize that your father wasn't an ordinary man, that he was an icon and really the voice of a people?
It was in school. Everybody always like, oh, you're Fela's son, and everybody's so surprised about that, and I like still fascinated Fela's son, like, why are they fascinated about this guy? I see him every day at home, in his undies, just lying on the bed, not doing anything. This dude, because Fela was never like a guy that wanted, that put his superiority around the house, like I'm famous, I grew up seeing my dad as a normal guy. Yeah. He slept on the floor, he was very humble, so for me, I didn't see any celebrity there. Yeah. I had to find out outside that, he was actually great. He never put that in our relationship.
And when you found out, were you like, wait, my dad?
Yeah, I was like, what's been going on? Why didn't you relate this?
Wow. Well, his life has been explored before, but it still seems like we're just scratching the surface of who he is. And there's this new documentary out, Finding Fela, and it really talks about his life and his legacy and all that he's meant to a people. What do you make of the documentary?
Well, I think it's the most accurate representation of his struggle and his life,
Really?
The part that people did not see and understand, because you have to understand in Nigeria, Fela is seen as some kind of supernatural being, and everybody keeps saying, there can never be another Fela, People see this as a positive thing. I don't, I see it as a propaganda by government to try and make young black African young men and women not strive to be as great as him, because I believe we have the potential to have 1 million Felas in Nigeria and in Africa. But this continual misconception and not really getting to know the guy, makes people feel, oh, I can never achieve that. So, but if you watch this documentary from a very constructive point of view, you can see how you can impact on young people to make them believe that they can really achieve as much as this guy did, because I believe there's so much potential locked up in Africa. And telling people they can never be another Fela or things like that is negative for me.
That's so interesting, because most people would celebrate that notion, but in a way, you're saying to treat him like a godlike figure prevents other people from following in his footsteps.
So I think this documentary made him out to be a man, so people understand the man, and maybe that can inspire them to want to be the man, not worship the God,
Got you. That makes perfect sense to me. Now, Alex Gibney, Academy Award-winning documentarian Alex Gibney, is behind this. Why do you think he took an interest in your father's life and legacy? What did he tell you about?
Well, I think, after the Broadway play, there were so many questions left unanswered, and I think Alex wanted to get to the end of the story, because Broadway was a certain time. The chronology was between 60 and 78. So the end was not there. So I think Alex was really fascinated. Okay, what went on? So I think that was what brought his interest, and then, as they say, the rest is history.
But one of the things I loved about the documentary is where you talked about watching your father write a song. So talk to us about that process and why you felt it was important to share that in the documentary.
Well, Fela got to a level where his message became an extension of himself. The way he wrote his songs were things that he truly felt and meant. To be able to write a song without taking back any word, any single letter, means that you are completely convinced of the message that you want to pass across. So I feel that was important for people to know. Convictions are important in what we do, to be convinced in our convinced of our own abilities, you know. So Fela holding a pen and putting it to paper and not stopping till he finishes the song shows that he's convinced about what he wants to say. You know, that is direct, you know, and I feel it comes with years of practice, you know. You know, for me as a young musician trying to write my song, you know, I write my lyrics, I write one verse, I read it 10 times, I'm like, oh.
You study it, right?
That's what it is, you know, so you get to that level, you know, so that was where he was before he died, and I just wanted people to know the level he was at.
Now, was that intimidating for you or inspiring for you?
Inspiring, yeah, you know, because as I said, I knew my father as a man, you know, and I knew that came from working, from hard work, from putting so many years into it. You know, that's how we could get there, you know, so yeah.
What was it like growing up with an icon for a father?
Well,
did you feel pressure to,
as I said,
to
you
follow
know,
in his footsteps? Did you feel pressure to live up to the legend of Fela?
not at all.
Not at all.
Because of the kind of father that he was, you know. Fela never, as I said, I didn't even know he was famous till I started going to school and meeting people outside the house that, you know, well, oh, you're Fela's son, and everybody knows my dad and stuff like that. You know,
You're musical royalty, though. You're being modest, but that name commands a tremendous amount of respect and has for many decades, even before your father.
Well, yeah, we are musical royalty of activism, not
Yes.
commercial royalty. You know,
Correct.
yeah, of course, it's true. You know, but for me, you know, Fela always taught us about accepting who we are. Being Fela's child has always been a part of who I am. I can't change that. I never asked for it. It's like winning the daddy lottery, you know. So you get it, it's yours. You know, he wanted us to realize that that was a part of who we were. And we had no right to try and shy away from it or always run towards it, but it should be a part of us in discovering our own selves, you know. So I've never seen being Fela's son as something I have to live up to or anything, you know. When he was alive, he never demanded that of me, you know, so nobody else can.
Yeah, and I know he died when you were still very young.
Yeah,
so
I was 14.
What do you remember most about him?
Well, that it was very funny, you know. It was a great, you know, I think my dad and I, we had the luck of being able to vibe when he was a bit older. You know, Femi, Yeni, my elder siblings, they all met him when he was young, vibrant, active on the march and struggle, and, you know, he never had time for them, probably, you know. But for me, you know, he was in his late 40s, winding down, at home all day except when he had a show, you know. So I ended up spending a lot of time with him, and we had a really strong relationship. You know, I mean, for like a year after he died, I dreamt of him every day, like he was right in front of me, and I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, it was a dream.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. You know, because it was so real, you know, because I spent all my time with him, you know, so yeah.
Wow. Do you still dream about him sometimes?
No. Now I just wish he was around, because when I think about the kind of conversations he tried to have with me, you know, my Fela, maybe he knew he didn't have a lot of time left, so every time I spent with him, it was really deep in the things we talked about. It wasn't like talking to a kid, it was like talking to a guy. You know, so I grew up and I remember some of the things he said that I didn't understand. I'm like, oh, I wish he was here and we could talk about it now.
Yeah. His music was very philosophical and had strong political overtones. Your music does as well. Do you think it's important, or why is it important for you to use your lyrics to help bring about social change?
Well, I think music is for having fun and also for representing the people that love you. I believe, you know, the world is full of so much negativity, so much hate, you know, and music can be something that can bring people together on the opposite side of this divide, you know. In terms of using your gifts properly, you know, my father, you know, he believed that music was a gift and you can't abuse the gift. And I'll go a bit further to say people love you if you're a musician. They don't know you, they put your picture in their house, you know. So I believe it's a perversion to take that love and give it back to them in terms of vanity and say, well, I'm richer than you, you don't have my kind of car, you know, I pull all the best chicks, you ain't got nothing, you know, and things like that. You know, I believe it's a perversion of the love that they give to you to put pressure on young people that way. You know, because young people watch videos and listen to music these days, they want to make money, they just under so much stress and pressure just from listening to music. Music should be something that inspires them, not stress them out and put them under pressure. You know, go to a rap concert with your girlfriend, and by the time you leave, you're like half the man you were when you got there. Because the rapper has made you look so small. She's like, what kind of car do you have anyway? Lil Wayne has a Bugatti.
So you said there are more important things to worry about in life.
Yeah.
That's the message.
And
you're
I
trying to get
believe there should be
across.
more that they can give to people to make them more positive than stressing young people out.
I hear that. No, you're a father now. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that like? And how has fatherhood impacted your music and what you want to leave as your legacy?
Well, like A Long Way to the Beginning, my new record that just came out as well, is the title, A Long Way to the Beginning, is
Yeah.
also the fact that this is my first daughter, so it's a beginning of fatherhood for me. It's a new life, you know. It's one of the reasons I named the album now. You know, she's fine. She's 6 months next week. I've only spent 7 weeks with her so far. You know, I've been touring a lot this year, and it's so hard to be away from her. It's the first time, you know, I have something that I'm not with that I really need. Every time I'm touring before, you know, it's just me, this single guy.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, what's next for you?
Well, if we're still touring for another 20 weeks, so that's all I'm thinking about right now.
Okay.
You know, one step at a time. I don't try to, you know, kill my mind with what's next. I leave that to my management. I know things about that.
I have one last question. Now, I know the words Fela lives are tattooed on your back. What do you think your father would make of the man you've become?
Well, I hope he'll be proud. I can't say for sure. You know, I don't like to deal with ifs, you know. It's a shame he's not here. I hope he's proud. I can only hope, you know. That's all I can do.
Well, we're proud of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here,
My
and
pleasure.
good luck with everything. And congrats on fatherhood.
Yeah.
All right. You're watching Arise Entertainment 360.